This session is called Using Google Webmaster Tools. And in this session, you're going to be learning how you can use Google's Webmaster Tools to further search engine optimize your site. So Webmaster Tools is a fantastic and free resource that gives website owners access to a lot of data that wouldn't otherwise be available. So this can help you find errors that are stopping your site from ranking, as well as find what is working so that you can do more of what works. So the basic So go ahead and let Google deal with that and don't limit it unless you have a server administrator saying that you should. So let's go down to site links. Now, site links are automatically generated, and what they are the links that are underneath your site in the search results. Now let's look at tfrog. When I search for tfrog, you can see all these results under here are the site links. So in Webmaster Tools, what this is allowing you to do is remove any of those. Important to know because Googlebot, when it finds a link, it'll follow it, and if it dead ends, it's going to get stuck, and sometimes that'll cause Googlebot to stop crawling your site and move on to another site. So we can see here we're getting quite a few 404s. So I'm going to show you a pretty easy way to one by one eliminate these 404 errors. So we can see here this link is not found, and here's the full URL. Now, one of the incredibly useful features of Webmaster Tools is the linked from tab. So here's the URL that we know is 404ing. It would be incredibly hard to go through your entire site and figure out what pages are linking to this. Well, Google is going to tell us right here. So here fix them, update this page, take whatever action you need to take. So it's very, very useful report. And again, this is all stuff that would be nearly impossible to find unless one of your users complained and told you about it. So now let's look at crawl stats. So the crawl stats are showing you Googlebot's activity over the last 90 days. So we're going to start here with pages crawled per day, kilobytes downloaded per day, and then time spent downloading. Now, in general, you want pages crawled to be as high as possible, and you want kilobytes downloaded and time spent as low as possible. So what you want here is Google to be crawling your site as much as possible, finding lots of different content, but not having to spend a lot of time downloading or not having to download large files. So if you see that the kilobytes downloaded per day is on the way up, that tells you that maybe some of your posts have too many images or the images aren't compressed well. Something's going on that page that you could change and optimize. And time spent is a good indicator of server speed. So Googlebot is taking a long time to access and pull down your content. They're not going to like that. Site speed has been shown in a lot of different studies to increase conversion rates and be good for everybody involved. So you want your site to be as fast as possible. So definitely make sure that the time spent downloading a page is as low, kilobytes are low, and pages crawled are high. So let's move on to blocked URLs. So in another video, we talked about the robots.txt and how Googlebot is going to read the robots.txt and then know what folders to avoid. Here, Google is reading the robots and it's displaying what's in there. So we can see here that all user agents are not allowed to look at these 4 folders. So it's good to know that Google has found these blocked URLs and is abiding by them. So fetch as Google, this is a really, really cool feature. So what happens here is you can actually put a URL in there and tell Google to go look at the page. Now let's do that. I'm going to pick a random page. Let's look at green tea. So you'll just take the URL and to fetch it as Google, you paste it in here. And as you can see, the domain name is duplicated. So you can go ahead and take that out. You only need the tail end of the URL and click fetch. For a second here, it'll say pending. And now success. So we were able to successfully fetch that page. If there were any issues, for example, if it was not found, see what Google will see, you can click the success link here and it'll actually open what it took. Now, this is of course a bunch of HTML code, but if you ever had any troubles with your index, this is something again that you can send to your web developer, show them what Google there's nothing to look at here. However, earlier when I talked about setting up email alerts, this is one of the biggest reasons you'll want to do that. Because if your site does get infected with malware, you're going to want to know immediately.